Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is a brand new What If. What if Tanjiro had unlimited potential? Someone did comment this suggestion. Shout out to them. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but if you are watching this video right now, and you commented this, or maybe there's multiple of you that commented this, leave comments in the comment section below that you commented it and that it was your suggestion and that you wanted to see this get done. And yeah, I mean, we're here for it. And if you have any other suggestions, anybody in the comment section, feel free to leave them down below. There's no guarantee that I'll do them, but I always try my best to check the comment section. I check the comment section in general for suggestions. So if you want me to do a specific what if, I try to make sure to look down there and see what's going on. But with that said, I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into this what if. So let's get it. Tanjiro Kamado and his life would be basically the exact same. Now, I wouldn't say it would be the same as we progress through the story of Demon Slayer, but it is the same from the very beginning, because Tanjiro still kind of goes through the motions of being a great brother, a great son, and all the above. But the only thing that really changes with this is he probably would learn a little bit more from his father. And the reason for this is because Tanjiro's limitless growth and limitless potential allows him to actually understand and really put into action some of the things his father actually wanted to teach him, even if it was just so minuscule, right? Even if it wasn't some crazy amount of stuff that Tanjiro's father was able to teach him, but it was enough for him to kind of awaken some ideas and some things that are in the back of his mind, right? And these are things that Tanjiro kind of learns, and some things that he kind of brings up as he progresses through his life as normal. Now, in terms of things that happen that would even change with, the eventual, change of Nezuko becoming a demon and stuff like that, the only thing that would change is Tanjiro's understanding of kind of the fighting style of Gyu Tomioka, and also his understanding of the approach that he should take to actually, take on Gyu and try to like catch him off guard and hit him with his axe. Obviously, that it doesn't actually happen. Like, Gyu still dodges it, but he still is able to understand and also progress a little bit further in his own kind of ways of fighting, because of this circumstance. And all the way up until he faces off with the temple demon, Tanjiro doesn't progress at all until he faces off with that temple demon. And Urokodaki would actually see it in Tanjiro, because when he's fighting the temple demon, he's actually learning a lot quicker, understanding a lot quicker, and figuring things out way quicker than normal. And so much so that he's breaking through the walls of just physical capability a lot quicker than normal. Like, Tanjiro was legitimately able to keep up with a full-fledged demon before even understanding breathing styles and understanding what he's actually doing in a general perspective of like actual fighting, right? And this really shows Urokodaki that, whoa, okay, this kid actually might be the real deal, and he might be like have some insane potential, and the potential for him to actually be a great demon slayer may be larger and also have more potential than anyone could possibly imagine. This would lead to Urokodaki training Tanjiro, and all of the little spots where he would struggle or, not be as good at, he would break through those walls a lot easier. Like, he would shatter those walls so much easier than you would think, because of his unlimited potential. Those walls that normally would hold him still and keep him stuck for a little bit, maybe an extra couple days, maybe an extra week, or stuff along those lines, those walls that he would break through would be broken in a matter of hours. Oh, he struggles with this part of water breathing? Nope. Only for an hour, he struggles with it. He shatters through the wall, right? And he continues to do that with breathing styles, and even with concentration breathing or total concentration breathing constant, because this right here is something Urokodaki feels like he can teach Tanjiro, because he is way ahead of anybody he's ever taught in his life. Like, he's way ahead of anybody he's ever taught. So he's thinking to himself, okay, well, Tanjiro is pretty damn impressive, so we might as well just keep pushing him forward. And every wall that Tanjiro would ever, walk into, I mean, like I've said, he's going to shatter it. He shatters it over and over again to the point where he perfects water breathing to a pretty damn high degree, and then even kind of perfects total concentration breathing constant and some other breathing things or breathing techniques that Urokodaki would actually teach him. And in him teaching him, like him teaching Tanjiro these things, he's also preparing Tanjiro to fight demons, also preparing Tanjiro to be as prepared as he possibly can. And this right here is beyond anything Tanjiro would expect out of himself. And Tanjiro would continue kind of pushing his training as much as he could, even when Sabito and Makoma would show up as, spirits of themselves. He would train with them, push past his own boundaries, and even get way stronger than someone like Sabito, like way stronger. And in doing so, he's able to easily clean up the entirety of the final selection and continues to push himself and his unlimited potential. His potential skyrockets further and further as he defeats every single demon you could possibly see. And as all this is happening, all the demon slayers that are watching, they start chattering. They start talking about Tanjiro, and one person actually sees him, and that is being Kanao, right? Kanao sees this and thinks, well, I probably should give this information to Shinobu, but I don't know if she's gonna want it or ask for it. And that's something that Kanao kind of struggles with, because she's like, well, I think this information is important, but I don't really know what to think for myself, so I'm gonna just hold off on saying anything until maybe it's brought up or something is brought up asking about the final selection. And if that happens, well, we don't really know, not at this point, but Tanjiro would basically finish the final selection with everybody living. And yeah, it does definitely overwhelm the kind of Demon Slayer population, but Tanjiro's abilities have really jumped the course, so he is way stronger, way better. He gets his Nichirin ore, and then he progresses to, or goes to Urokodaki, and then progresses on his first mission with Nezuko in a box. Now, this first mission is against the Swamp Demon, but the Swamp Demon is legitimately a joke. This is a joke of a fight. Tanjiro makes quick work of him, and the Swamp Demon's even conflicted on the idea of what the hell this guy is. He's supposed to be a newbie. You can tell that he's a newbie by just the smell of him. He basically smells like a normal human being, not a demon slayer, right? He doesn't have the smell of demons' deaths on his blade, and you can tell that he is a newbie, somebody that is just some normal person now, or at least was some normal person before becoming a demon slayer. But Tanjiro, he makes such quick work of the Swamp Demon, especially being able to just straight up predict everything that he's able to do. Legitimately able to predict those things. He's straight up just predicting all of his movements, his ideas, and also what he progresses and wants to do with his little portals and stuff like that. And by this time, Tanjiro is progressing at a rapid rate. And yes, he's not progressing as fast because he's not training, because training is going to make him untap his potential even further, progress his potential even more insane. But right now, he's still progressing via just experience. And having that experience also helps him with the unlimited potential. His unlimited potential also goes to understanding demons, their movements, and stuff along those lines. So when he goes to the city that never sleeps, and he has that first encounter with Muzan, I mean, this is a face he will never forget, a face that will never fall off of his mind. And as this all happens, Muzan would turn a man into a demon, stuff along those lines, and eventually he would meet with Tamayao and Yushiro, and eventually would fight against Susumaru and Yahaba. But as I said, this fight isn't necessarily a very close one, especially with the help of Nezuko, Tamayao, and Yushiro. I mean, they're able to handle Susumaru and Yahaba, and let's just say Muzan is very pissed off, because he's thinking to himself that this kid, Tanjiro Kamado, needs to go. They need to get rid of him, because it seems like he just handles everything that gets thrown his way so easily and so simply. And all of the battle all the battles that are like, pushing up the rank are just making him stronger, and making him stronger at a rapid rate. Yes, these demons are stronger than the swamp demon, so they give a little bit more pushback. And in giving a little bit more pushback makes it so Tanjiro is able to basically push himself even further to be even better, and to basically stay above the kind of level that these two demons are at. Both of them may be stronger than the swamp demon, but both of them also push Tanjiro beyond his limitless power, if that's even makes any sense. But at the same time, his power just seems to have no bound, as if the power of the demons and how strong they are just making him even stronger at that. And he continues after defeating these demons. He talks to Lady Tamiya about, curing Nezuko and all the above. And then eventually, after a long conversation about, figuring some things out, he would then head off to his very next mission. Now, before then, he would meet up with someone by the name of Zenitsu, and he would kind of learn what he's doing and what he's all about. Now, he's like, okay, bro, like, I'm going to take you. We're going to go on a mission. We're going to go do some Demon Slayer stuff. And all that goes exactly according to plan. And this is also when they would try to save the little kid's brother. And this would be Tanjiro's first time meeting Inosuke, and also a former member of the 12 Kizuki known as Kyogai. Being that he does need the blood of the 12 Kizuki, he believes that this is a pretty good starting point. So he decides that he's gonna, legitimately find a way to actually defeat this demon. Now, initially in his own head, he's thinking this is gonna be a very difficult fight. This is somebody of the same caliber, or at least at one point was the same caliber as one of the 12 Kizuki. So he really starts kind of looking back into his own head and his own memories about what he used to be, or what was talked about when he was a child, and what his father would talk about, and the dance that he would actually do known as the Hinokami Kagura. Now, he would look back on that, think about that, and even start kind of trying to produce that within his water breathing style. And as he's doing it, he eventually would awaken the Hinokami Kagura even against Kyogai. Now, he wouldn't need it necessarily, like he would outclass Kyogai, but Tanjiro himself would think to himself that, oh, this guy is definitely powerful and he's no joke. So after that back and forth in his head, he would eventually decide, okay, so let me try to give it my absolute all to make sure that this guy does not get the best of me, awakening his first kind of touch, or the first like breathing part of utilizing sun breathing, that first little glimpse of sun breathing, or the Hinokami Kagura, and he would utilize it, and he would be at a different level now. Utilizing it also allows him to kind of open the spectrum of breathing styles, and also his ability as a demon slayer to a totally different degree. And after defeating Kyogai, and as Inosuke, is doing his own thing throughout the mansion, Tanjiro would eventually head outside, and would obviously have the exact same thing that happens normally. Normally, Inosuke tries to attack the box, Zenitsu is protecting it, or protecting Nezuko, and Inosuke and Tanjiro fight. During this fight, yes, Tanjiro does get the best of Inosuke, but he also learns a lot about this just hand-to-hand combat style in this short period of time. This tiny period of time allows Tanjiro to eclipse Inosuke in kind of more brawly style of combat with hand-to-hand combat. And this alone allows Tanjiro to exceed whatever Inosuke is kind of able to do, and exceed kind of everything in front of him at this point, which is pretty shocking for someone like Inosuke. But Inosuke decides to follow alongside him. Same thing with Zenitsu, as they would head off to a nearby place to kind of set shop and kind of get some rest, eat some food, and eventually they would have another mission toward Mount Natagumo. Now, everything that leads up to Rui would go exactly the same, right? All of the little, the Demon Slayer puppets, all that stuff, none of that would really change for Tanjiro. He would slightly progress even kind of further, because of these demon encounters, including the father spider demon. But the one demon that really makes him like progress way further with his unlimited potential is the fight against Rui. The fact is, though, he already has unlocked the Hinokami Kagura, and his concentration or concentration breathing constant is already at a pretty damn high level. Him utilizing it more and more allows him to legitimately kind of perfect it as he goes and as he progresses through various different missions. So a fight against Rui is not the hardest thing in the world, but difficult enough to where he has to up his game a little bit more, unlocking even more to do with sun breathing. Tanjiro, yes, not really knowing a ton about sun breathing initially, but now kind of unlocking sun breathing even further beyond just the dance of the Hinokami Kagura. He would even unlock even more, and yes, his body would kind of unlock more on its own, but he would know he wouldn't know what these are called, but he would actually be able to use the second form, Clear Blue Sky. And the crazy part is he doesn't even know what it's all about. Like, he doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know where it's from, how he came up with. He doesn't even know the name of the breathing technique, or the breathing form, excuse me. And he just utilizes it. He's just like, whoa, okay. Like, it's like my body just went straight for it without really understanding it fully. And he's able to defeat Rui on his own. So when Giyu would eventually arrive, he would be in shock. He'd be like, did Tanjiro just do that? Did he just defeat a demon that is part of the 12 Kizuki? I mean, technically that qualifies him to actually become a Hashira. Now, this is a conversation that's going to be had a little bit later, because they're not going to just give him that spot so easily. I mean, Tanjiro is harboring a demon at the end of the day. So when Giyu and Tanjiro have to face off with Shinobu, initially, obviously, Giyu's like, just run away, but Tanjiro also stands a better chance against Kanao, but being that he's just trying to get Nezuko out of harm's way, it kind of means that it really doesn't go well nonetheless. He ends up back at the Hashira mansion, and let's just say a lot of them are very down on the idea of Tanjiro kind of doing the things he's doing and harboring a demon, even if it is his sister. But Tanjiro refuses to let this go and refuses to allow anybody to hurt his sister, and that's when we end up actually seeing him strike Saname with a headbutt. Now, with all that happening, eventually the master of all the demon slayers, Ubuyashiki, would eventually arrive and would talk about how Nezuko and Tanjiro have the blessing of Urokodaki, of Giyu Tomioka, and that they'll basically commit Sambuku if obviously Nezuko ends up killing a human or ending a human. And obviously a lot of the Hashira disagree with this. I mean, they're saying that this is a horrible idea, this is blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, Tanjiro even says it himself that he promises his sister does not hurt humans. His sister has not hurt a human, and his sister has the protective instincts of protecting every human like they are family. And that right there is just the truth of it. And Saname would try to discredit her, showing the blood, like his own blood, and she refuses to actually devour the blood that is being put in front of her, which would shock everybody, but also would kind of give a little bit of that understanding that, yeah, maybe she is different than any other demon, and it's just hard for them to truly understand that. Now, with all that already said and done, Tanjiro would begin his rehabilitation training and would begin kind of pushing and really trying to push himself to new heights and trying to figure out this sun breathing. And frankly, a lot of people that are helping him train, they're like, whoa, I mean, he's already beyond so much that they're trying to teach him. And frankly, he kind of excels so much that he is way ahead of Inosuke and Zenitsu. And as the training would progress, they would have to teach him more and more advanced things, and they would even add Shinobu to the fray to teach him a couple things that are more advanced like techniques. But Tanjiro would also bring up the fact that he also knows how to utilize some sort of flame, fire, or whatever type of breathing, in which Shinobu would explain that Rengoku is, well, the Flame Hashira, so maybe that would be something he should go handle or talk to him about along those lines. But we all know that this is sun breathing. Tanjiro doesn't know that to a certain extent, but Rengoku may know and will definitely know more about it. So after all that training, yeah, Tanjiro is way stronger because of his potential and way more powerful than he ever was in the initial version of this, especially because he also is able to utilize even sun breathing to a higher degree without even knowing what it is specifically. Like, he knows a ton about it just through sheer like understanding of his body's movements. Like, that's all he knows. And when he eventually would meet up with Rengoku, with Inosuke and Zenitsu, who are stronger, by the way, because trying to keep up with somebody that is stronger than you will always make you more powerful. And at the end of the day, it makes the trio more powerful overall. It's just that Tanjiro is just vastly stronger than all of them, right? Tanjiro is just leaps stronger than all of them. So, yeah, it's something to try to keep up with, try to catch, try to do something. But at the end of the day, he is way more powerful than them. But at the same time, they're still going to be massively beneficial. And in turn, when they go to the Mugen Train, they get put to sleep, and eventually Tanjiro gets out of that sleeping nature. He would also, face off with Enmu. He would push his own abilities and his own potential even further, and his own just flat out strength even further, facing off with Enmu, who is pretty decently strong. He's no joke, but he's also he's way stronger than Rui, so it's no joke in terms of a fight against a demon. And eventually he would also see Inosuke fighting a certain way, and also Inosuke would slice the neck off the demon, but he also would watch as watching Zenitsu for the first time utilize his ability or his kind of thunder breathing and really utilize thunder, clap, and flash. And he hasn't really thought about it this way, but he starts really witnessing the body and the movements of Zenitsu, and he starts blending just these ideas within his own, allowing him to actually utilize Zenitsu's thunderclap and flash, just not in the same way that Zenitsu would, just mixing it in with sun breathing. Same thing with Inosuke to a certain extent in terms of that style of fighting, but Tanjiro's body just doesn't bend and also contort the way that Inosuke's does, but he's able to learn how to contort his body just, I would say, 25% of the way that Inosuke would, right? Inosuke is insane when contorting his body, and Tanjiro just won't be able to do that. But his unlimited potential allows him to actually push his body further, and at least is able to do 25% of what Inosuke is able to do in terms of contorting and also changing his body type during a actual fight. And in having all this happen, Tanjiro would then, obviously, they would defeat Enmu, and he would then have, the first encounter with an upper moon known as Akaza. And Akaza would be a hell of a fight for Rengoku, and Tanjiro would even jump in this fight to try his best to keep both of them alive, leading to Tanjiro actually awakening his Demon Slayer mark against Akaza. Because of the fact that his potential is just completely ridiculous, this allows him to awaken the Demon Slayer mark way quicker, and the fact is, he is a sun breather already, so he kind of enters that kind of state that he needs, the state of a certain BPM, a certain body temperature and stuff like that. And also being a sun breather to start off with, he awakens his Demon Slayer mark, and at the same time, his potential also transfers over to the potential of other Demon Slayers actually gaining the Demon Slayer mark, getting it so by the end of the night, as the sun would be about 20 minutes or maybe less than that away from rising, Rengoku would also awaken his Demon Slayer mark. And this right here would put them at a kind of way of fighting and a chance to actually take down Akaza. And as the longer the fight goes, the stronger Tanjiro is getting. It seems like having an upper moon, a third, the number 3 upper moon, right, would make it so that it is ridiculous in terms of his potential, pushing him past every single kind of wall that ever existed in the likes of Tanjiro, even pushing him so far that his potentials allowing him to understand even more, allowing him to understand so much about Akaza, the way he fights, and the idea that his fighting spirit allows him to truly understand when attacks are coming. And Tanjiro realizes this via his potential, and as he continues to progress, get stronger, more powerful, and all the above, eventually Tanjiro would be able to hide that fighting spirit, hiding his intention to end Akaza, and eventually would get the upper hand, slicing the neck off of Akaza with enough time to allow the sun to eventually rise. And as the sun is rising, and as the sun is coming up at its peak, Akaza's body is reacting on its own and fighting as long as possible, but with the head on the ground, with the head disappearing, and as the sun rising, there is no kind of back and forth, there is no questioning, there is no thought process. Akaza's body would burn up, and Tanjiro and Rengoku would come out of this injured, like quite a bit injured. Like, don't get me wrong, they definitely took a beating during this fight, but at the end of the day, they would be able to defeat Akaza with their duo tandem of fighting skills and fighting style. And the fight itself allowed for Tanjiro to immerse himself even deeper within sun breathing, and allowed him to really utilize sun breathing via ways that he had no idea existed. And eventually, Tanjiro would be at a place where all he needs is a little bit more, a tiny bit more, to kind of bust through the wall of kind of this insane potential that he has. All he needs is a little bit more information on sun breathing, which he will get very, very close or very soon with Rengoku, being that they head off to his family home. He learns more about sun breathing and starts to master, legitimately in a matter of weeks, master all the kind of styles or all the techniques and all the forms of sun breathing, and eventually would even start kind of progressing everybody else into getting their Demon Slayer marks as well, because his potential being able to kind of speed up the process of other people actually getting their marks allows for legitimately so many Demon Slayers that are of that potential and of that degree to push themselves beyond that boundary. And well, we get to see this during the entertainment district, because Tanjiro is strong enough easily to take on Daki, especially during this whole like debacle of fighting, but even be able to fend off and take on Gyutaro by himself. Now, he's not going to end Gyutaro by himself. Could he possibly? Probably. But right now, he's kind of just fighting alongside other Demon Slayers. And as he does, as he fights alongside Zenitsu, as he fights alongside Inosuke, and also Tengen would awaken his Demon Slayer mark. Inosuke would awaken his as well. And, well, unfortunately, Zenitsu wouldn't himself. The reason for this is because he's sleeping. He's out cold, and he's completely sleeping the entire time, and his BPM never gets to a proper level. But Tanjiro believes that Zenitsu's potential to utilize the mark is still there. He just has to get over the fact that he can't fight without being completely asleep. But eventually he believes that that Zenitsu will push past that and get to an even higher level. And the end of Gyutaro and Daki would be a foregone conclusion. And the same things would ensue as Tanjiro would see even more upper moons at the swordsmith's village, and as they fight and as they take down all of these other demons, as they take down Gyoko and Hantengu, the awakening of Mitsuri and also Muchiro is just bound to happen even sooner than normal. And the fact is, it also helps with Nezuko actually awakening even more powers than she has in the like, and that she was doing in the past, because a lot of that gets skipped. But during this time, Tanjiro's progression also helps with Nezuko's progression to an extent, allowing her to still keep up with her power, even if she really isn't, I wouldn't say not useful, but she's not needed during a lot of these circumstances. So Tanjiro kind of holds his own and also pushes everybody else to be far, far greater. The eventual defeat of these demons, Gyoko and also Hantengu respectively, and then the eventual conquering of the sun by Nezuko, forces the Hashira and many others to go into their training modes. And Tanjiro's progression during this training is beyond the imagination, pushing him to train in the ways of the Hashira, and also placing him on the pedestal or the pillar of the sun-breathing Hashira now allows for him to push himself beyond imagination. Tanjiro ups his power, ups his game, especially with physical abilities. I mean, him pushing the boulders and stuff like that forces his body to kind of unveil some insane, untapped abilities that he really doesn't have, and he pushes himself beyond comprehension during this training. And let's just say Tanjiro's power would be basically just an entire mountain that seems to be as high as you can possibly imagine. Tanjiro finds a new way to climb even higher at an even more rapid rate, and it seems like he looks up and the mountain isn't, or the peak of the mountain isn't even showing just yet. The fog still has not cleared fully, and it seems like the fog will never clear at all. And at the end of this training, the end of the Hashira training, Tanjiro at this point would have surpassed everybody, would have surpassed every Hashira, would have surpassed even the greatest demon slayers of their generations. But one question would be, is he stronger than the one he has been seeing in his kind of premonitions, in his dreams? Is he stronger than the one that we know as Yoriichi, the greatest demon slayer to ever exist? Well, he doesn't know, because Yoriichi does not exist anymore. But when the final battle begins, let's just say Tanjiro makes it clear and just leaves it out there that he wants everybody to live. That is his goal, that is his want, and that is what he believes that needs to happen. And with Akaza gone, he can help out in a different way as well. With Rengoku there as well, you have an extra person to help out. But just because everybody has their marks, everybody has like all of these progressed powers and strength, doesn't mean that there aren't going to be casualties. Because Shinobu, she only sees one way out in terms of Doma. And Tanjiro himself, even he can't stop that. But he helps fight alongside everybody. Kanao, aside Inosuke. And they put the absolute beating on Doma, especially with the help of Shinobu from the afterlife. And the defeat of Doma would then lead to him basically looking to help as much as possible, but would get sectioned out to face off with the Demon King known as Muzan. But Tanjiro progressed so much from fighting some of the strongest demons alike, he asked Muzan, does he understand what's going to happen when this fight continues? When this fight begins and this fight ends, it will always end with Tanjiro Kamado and the Demon Slayers on top, the winners, and truly the ones that saved this planet, saved Earth, and saved all the humans alike. And Muzan would laugh at him, tell him that he's nothing, that he is not the Demon Slayer. He is not the one. He is not the one they don't speak of anymore, not the one with the mark. He is truly not Yoriichi. But Tanjiro tells him that he doesn't need to be the one for all Demon Slayer. He doesn't need to be the one and only Demon Slayer, the one that is so powerful that he strikes hearts or strikes fear in all the hearts of every demons, especially Muzan. He doesn't need to be him because he's different. He's different than him, And he wouldn't say he's better, but he's different. But he tells him that the longer this fight goes, the more he's going to realize that there is no light at the end of the tunnel for Muzan Kibutsuji. There is no way out, and there is no immortality, because this is where his life ends. And Tanjiro, he would live up to those words, because the more the fight goes, the longer it goes, all the way to sunrise, because that is where they're going, all the way to sunrise. The more he's fighting against Muzan, the strongest of them all, the more Muzan realizes that Tanjiro's power, his strength, his skill, his abilities, and every single thing he begins to unlock continues to increase rapidly and increase by a multiplier. It seems as if he's getting powerful, more and more powerful, the more and more Muzan shows off, and the more and more Muzan pushes forward. It's almost like it was a foregone conclusion, and it's almost like, well, the one and only Tanjiro was telling him the truth, that the more the fight would go, the worse it would get for the Demon King, because he might just be facing the god of all demon slayers. But it goes through his head. The visions that he's seen of Yoriichi flash in front of him, seeing Tanjiro, but then seeing Yoriichi, and he realizes that yes, they're different. They are different, but they truly are one of the same. And as this thought enters his mind, he tries to do the same thing he did against Yoriichi, but it doesn't work, because the sun would be coming up and Tanjiro would be all over it, and the potent kind of like poison and the everything that is pumping through his body is making things a lot more difficult for him and making things very, very hard for him to stay alive. And eventually Tanjiro's unlimited potential, or limitless potential, catches up to Muzan, and Muzan falls very short of his goal of immortality, and Tanjiro ensued in his true goal to keep everyone safe and save his sister and allow her to live a normal life as a normal kid and a normal person, and allow her to go throughout life without worrying about horrible, disgusting creatures like the demons coming to hurt them. And Tanjiro has now officially saved generations alike with his potential that knows no bound. Now, with that said, if you guys enjoyed, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like I said, show some love to the video and all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day.